Have you ever noticed how the first moments of your day can shape your entire mindset? The way you begin your morning often sets the tone for what's to come, either guiding you toward clarity and purpose or leaving you feeling scattered and reactive. In a world that constantly demands our attention, the Stoics offer us a timeless truth. Discipline your mind every morning. This practice isn't just about starting your day right. It's about building a mindset strong enough to withstand the chaos of life. By taking just a few minutes to center yourself through meditation, reflection, or setting intentions, you lay a foundation of peace and focus. Imagine waking up with a clear mind, ready to face whatever challenges come your way. It doesn't require hours of practice. Even a few deep breaths or a moment of stillness can make a remarkable difference. Each morning, discipline creates a ripple effect that shapes your entire day. Today, I challenge you to find a practice that grounds you. Whether it's journaling, reading, or silent reflection, make it a daily habit. How do you start your day? Share your routines in the comments below. Let's inspire one another to begin each day with true intention and clarity. Lesson 1. Start in silence. The power of a quiet mind. In the dim hush of early morning, long before the city stirs to life, imagine a still room where the air holds no pressure, no noise, no urgency. The only sound is the quiet rhythm of your breath, soft like the sea lapping against a shore. Outside, the world waits, full of emails, noise, arguments, and distractions. But here, in this sacred pocket of silence, you own your mind. There's power in that. Like a warrior sharpening a sword before battle, the Stoics knew the importance of starting the day in stillness, unshaken, untouched, and unburdened. We live in a world addicted to speed and noise. The moment we wake up, our minds are ambushed by notifications, worries, and plans. Most of us sprint into the day without ever truly arriving in it. The Stoics, however, believe the mind must first be gathered before it is given to the world. To Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, this meant turning inward each morning, grounding himself in silence before facing the duties of Rome. In silence, he found strength, not absence. Personally, I didn't always appreciate silence. Mornings used to begin with my phone in hand, scrolling, reacting, worrying. My mind would already be racing before my feet even touched the floor. But the days I chose to begin with 5 minutes of complete quiet changed something. My breathing slowed. My thoughts softened. I noticed birdsong I never heard before. And most importantly, I felt in control, anchored rather than dragged by the tide of the day. Silence doesn't mean emptiness. In fact, it's the richest space you can enter. It allows your thoughts to rise to the surface calmly, without panic or pressure. It's where you meet yourself before the world demands a version of you. In that moment of peace, you are no one's employee, friend, parent, or partner. You are simply human, alive, breathing, and aware. The Stoics weren't monks. They were generals, rulers, slaves, and merchants. They didn't have the luxury of long, quiet retreats, but they practiced mental discipline by claiming small, intentional moments, especially in the morning. A quiet beginning wasn't optional. It was essential. It gave them clarity to respond rather than react, to endure hardship without bitterness, and to act from principle, not impulse. You don't need an hour or a mountain retreat, just a few silent minutes. Sit up in bed, close your eyes, and do nothing. Not even meditate in the formal sense. Just be. Let your mind settle like snow in a glass jar. You might feel uncomfortable at first. That's okay. The discomfort is your mind detoxing from stimulation, learning to just be present. As you practice this daily, you'll notice a shift, not just in your mornings, but in your entire day. You'll be calmer in conflict, clearer in decision-making, and more patient with yourself and others. And all of it begins not with more effort, but with less noise. Start in silence and watch how your mind learns to listen. Eventually, silence becomes not just something you do in the morning, but something you carry with you. You'll speak less, but say more. You'll rush less, but accomplish more. This is the Stoic way, to be still so that your actions echo with clarity and calm. Your morning silence becomes your hidden armor, soft but unbreakable. And in that space between waking and doing, you'll discover something sacred. The choice to begin, not out of fear, but from freedom. The world will still swirl around you, but you, rooted in quiet, will no longer be moved by every wind. You'll walk into your day not just awake, but fully alive. Lesson 2. Choose your virtue, live with intention. Imagine this. It's early morning, the sky's still dim with sleep. You've just woken up, and already your phone is vibrating with missed calls, reminders, and unread messages. The day hasn't begun, but your mind is already racing. You could launch straight into the chaos, or you could pause. Take one breath. Ask yourself, who do I want to be today? That's the power of intention. And in Stoicism, it begins with choosing a virtue. The nurse walked into the hospital ward just after 6 a.m., already exhausted. She hadn't even started her shift yet, but a sleepless night with her sick child had drained her. She could have called in sick. No one would blame her. But instead, she paused by the staff locker room, closed her eyes, and whispered a single word to herself: compassion. It was her chosen virtue for the day. Not just a nice word, but a guide, a compass. And as patients barked complaints and emergencies pulled her in every direction, that one word helped her return to herself again and again. She didn't just survive the day, she lived it with intention. In Stoic practice, a virtue is more than a concept, it's a decision. Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus wrote constantly about living in alignment with virtues like courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. They believed that to truly own the day, you must pick the kind of person you intend to be before the world decides for you. The morning is your opportunity to plant that flag. Choose a virtue, just one, and let it color every word you speak, every action you take. That's how a life of integrity is built. One day, one virtue at a time. A young man I once knew worked as a customer service agent for a delivery company. It wasn't glamorous. Angry callers, long hours, and almost no recognition. But he had a ritual. Every morning before clocking in, he'd write a single word on his palm. Kindness, patience, humility. That one small act transformed his job into something more than a paycheck. He treated every call as a chance to live out that word, even the nasty ones. Over time, his coworkers noticed. His energy was different. His stress was lower. It wasn't magic. It was virtue in motion. Choosing your virtue is like setting your GPS. Without it, you drift. You might still get somewhere, but will it be where you meant to go? A chosen virtue gives your day a shape. It turns routine into purpose. Imagine deciding, today I will be honest, and holding that even when the easy way out is a lie. Or saying, today I will be brave, and letting that push you into the hard conversation you've been avoiding. It's not about being flawless. It's about being deliberate. This isn't a performance, it's a practice, and it's personal. You don't have to explain it to anyone. You don't even have to be good at it yet. The virtue you choose is a mirror. It shows you where you fall short, yes, but it also shows you who you're becoming. And over time, those daily choices become your character. That's the Stoic secret. Big change starts with small, repeated intentions. And let's be honest, the world will test you. You'll be tempted to drop the virtue you chose the moment things get hard. That's why it matters so much. Virtue isn't real when things are easy. It shows itself when everything is stacked against you. That's when you need it most. That's when it reveals what kind of person you are. So the next time your feet touch the floor in the early hours, don't rush into the noise. Take a pause. Breathe. Choose a virtue, not to be perfect, but to be intentional. Let it shape your thoughts, your words, your actions. You'll be amazed how one word can change your entire day. Because in the end, how you live each day is how you live your life. Lesson 3, Premeditatio Malorum. Prepare for life's storms. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind howling around you, the sky filled with dark clouds. You look down, and the sea below churns violently. It's a terrifying sight, and your heart races as you consider the leap you're about to make. But then, in the midst of the storm, you pause. You breathe deeply. You've already visualized this moment. You've already prepared for the fall. In your mind, you've rehearsed the storm, and now it no longer holds the power to overwhelm you. The leap is not as daunting because you've anticipated the challenges and you've accepted them. This is the essence of premeditatio malorum, the Stoic practice of rehearsing misfortune. Instead of avoiding or fearing life's inevitable storms, you prepare for them in advance. The ancient Stoics, particularly Seneca, encouraged this mental preparation, not to make you anxious, but to strengthen your resilience. The idea is not to dwell in negativity or self-pity, but to acknowledge that hardship, loss, and challenges are an inescapable part of life. By rehearsing what could go wrong, you don't give it the power to shake you when it arrives. When you take the time to mentally anticipate a storm, you face it with a level of calm and clarity that allows you to act with purpose rather than reacting impulsively. Think about a job interview or an important presentation. Instead of fearing failure, you imagine everything that could go wrong. Maybe your computer crashes, your presentation freezes, or you forget your words. But by mentally preparing for these setbacks, you've already rehearsed how to recover. You know you can adapt. The actual event becomes far less intimidating because you've mentally accepted it. And even in the worst-case scenario, you're not caught off guard. I once witnessed an athlete preparing for a major competition. As part of his routine, he'd sit quietly and run through all the possible things that could go wrong. Cramping, losing his balance, even missing his best time. Each scenario was met with a calm acceptance, followed by a plan to address it. His practice wasn't about expecting failure, but preparing his mind to remain focused, no matter what the outcome. On the day of the race, he faced the pressure with a calm that others didn't have, because in his mind, he had already confronted the worst. By mentally rehearsing misfortune, you free yourself from the anxiety of what might happen. You're not naively hoping for the best while preparing for the worst. You're simply embracing the reality that life is unpredictable, and that's okay. Stoicism teaches that our happiness doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on our internal responses to them. When you know that adversity is a possibility, you can face it with grace and confidence, no matter when it arrives. This practice doesn't just apply to big moments like interviews or races. It's valuable in everyday life. Maybe it's anticipating a difficult conversation with a loved one or preparing for a stressful work week. The key is to visualize not only the problems, but also your responses to them. See yourself as calm, measured, and unshaken. When the storm hits, you won't be at the mercy of your emotions. You'll already have your foundation. In Stoic thought, premeditating misfortune isn't about living in fear. It's about living with awareness and control. It's about turning the potential for disaster into an opportunity to demonstrate your strength, patience, and wisdom. The more you rehearse, the less likely you are to be overwhelmed by the unknown, and the more you'll find yourself acting with integrity no matter what life throws your way. The beauty of this practice is that it not only strengthens your resilience, but also shifts your perspective on life's challenges. By rehearsing misfortune, you realize that the true power doesn't lie in controlling the external events, but in controlling your reaction to them. Life will continue to throw storms your way, big and small, but by embracing premeditatio malorum, you begin to see that your peace of mind is determined not by avoiding hardship, but by learning how to face it head-on with calmness and composure. You become less afraid of what could happen and more focused on how you can handle whatever comes your way. So the next time you're faced with a challenge, take a moment to pause, visualize what could go wrong, prepare for it in your mind, and then, when the storm inevitably arrives, remember that you've already rehearsed it. Your mind is calm, and your response is one of strength. Lesson 4. Control what you can. Let go of the rest. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where everything seemed to be going wrong, and no matter how much you tried to fix it, things just kept getting worse? It's a feeling that can leave you frustrated, drained, and overwhelmed. Life is full of challenges, and it's easy to become consumed by the idea that we can and should control every outcome. But what if the key to peace and success lies not in controlling everything around us, but in learning to let go of what we cannot control? I remember a time when I was preparing for an important event at work. The team I had been working with for months had suddenly fallen apart. A key member of the team had to leave unexpectedly, and the preparations for the event began to feel like a chaotic race against time. I found myself running around trying to fix everything, from rearranging the schedule to contacting others to fill in the gaps. I could feel the stress building as I tried to control every element of the situation. It wasn't until I stopped, took a step back, and reminded myself of what I could control that things began to improve. I couldn't control the changes in the team, but I could control my response to the challenge. Once I focused on what was within my power, I was able to regain my composure and make better decisions, resulting in a successful event. It's often said that the key to resilience is recognizing that there are things in life that will always be beyond our control. A flat tire, a delayed flight, someone else's bad mood. These things are simply out of our hands. However, the Stoics would argue that what truly matters is not what happens to us, but how we respond. Instead of reacting impulsively or letting frustration take over, we can choose to direct our energy toward actions that are within our control. The difference between a stressful situation and a manageable one often lies in this very shift of focus. Imagine for a moment you're on a long road trip and suddenly your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere. You don't have cell service and there's no mechanic in sight. At first, panic might set in, but then you pause and assess the situation. You can't control the fact that your car broke down, but you can control your response. Maybe you start by finding shelter, conserving your resources, or flagging down passing cars. The key here is to focus on actions that will improve your situation rather than wasting energy on worrying about what can't be changed. The same principle applies to daily life. Once you let go of the things you can't control, you're free to take the steps that will help you move forward. This is where true empowerment comes from. The ability to let go of external chaos and focus on what you can influence. By doing so, you'll find that many of life's problems become easier to handle, simply because you are no longer overwhelmed by the things that are beyond your grasp. The Stoic approach teaches us that it's not the events themselves that cause us distress, but rather our judgments and reactions to those events. By changing how we respond, we change our experience of the world. It's essential to remember that this mindset doesn't mean we stop caring or giving up on the things that matter to us. It simply means we stop allowing uncontrollable factors to dictate our emotional state. Instead, we channel our energy into things that will yield positive results: our thoughts, our actions, and our attitudes. When you let go of the need to control everything, you begin to operate from a place of calm and clarity. As you move through your day, consider which areas of your life might be causing you unnecessary stress due to a lack of control. Is it a work project that keeps changing direction? A relationship that feels unpredictable? A series of obstacles that feel impossible to navigate? Recognize what you can change and what you cannot, and focus your efforts on the former. You'll soon realize how much more peace and power you have when you invest your energy in the things you can actually influence. Letting go of control doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or giving up. It means freeing yourself from the mental burden of trying to manage everything and trusting that you have the ability to handle what's within your reach. By doing so, you'll move through life with greater resilience, knowing that while you can't control everything, you can always control how you choose to respond. Lesson 5. Act without delay. Discipline through doing. Have you ever found yourself stuck in the cycle of procrastination, knowing that something needs to be done, but putting it off until the last possible moment? It's a feeling that many of us know all too well, having the intention to act, but lacking the discipline to take the first step. But what if the secret to overcoming procrastination and building discipline lies not in waiting for the right moment, but in acting immediately? Take, for example, the story of a man preparing for a marathon. He knows he needs to train, but every time he thinks about going for a run, he finds an excuse. It's too cold, or he's too busy. Days turn into weeks, and his preparation falls further behind. But then one day, instead of overthinking, he simply laces up his shoes and starts running. At first, it's tough. His legs feel heavy. His breathing is labored, but he keeps going. The next day, he does the same thing, and the day after that. Over time, he builds the habit, and it becomes easier. The key here is not waiting for motivation, but acting right away, regardless of how he feels. In doing so, he begins to build the discipline necessary to reach his goal. This principle is central to Stoicism. Action is the key to developing discipline. Instead of waiting for inspiration or the perfect time, we must train ourselves to act without hesitation. The Stoics understood that our lives are shaped by our actions, and that the only way to cultivate virtue is through consistent, deliberate practice. It's easy to think that discipline comes from sheer willpower, but in reality, it's built through the habit of acting, regardless of how we feel at any given moment. Imagine that you've been putting off a task, maybe a project at work or an important conversation with a loved one. The longer you delay, the more anxious you feel, and the more daunting the task seems. But what if, instead of overthinking it, you took a small step toward completing it? What if you simply picked up the phone or wrote the first sentence of that email? You'd likely find that once you begin, the task isn't as overwhelming as it seemed. The act of starting is often the hardest part, but once you break the inertia, momentum carries you forward. This concept of acting without delay goes hand in hand with the Stoic notion of living in accordance with nature, doing what needs to be done without hesitation or overthinking. By acting immediately, we prevent our minds from getting caught in the endless loop of doubt and procrastination. The more we practice this, the more natural it becomes. Soon, taking action becomes second nature, and our discipline strengthens with every decision we make. The key to mastering this principle is to make it a habit. Start small. Don't wait for the right mood or the right moment. Take action as soon as the thought enters your mind. Over time, this practice will build a foundation of discipline, and you'll find yourself accomplishing more than you ever imagined. You'll also notice that by acting without delay, you're less likely to feel overwhelmed or paralyzed by the tasks that once seemed impossible. Take a moment to reflect. What is something you've been putting off? Maybe it's a project, a conversation, or even a personal goal you've been neglecting. Now ask yourself, what would happen if you took just one step toward completing it today? What if you acted without delay and started the process right now? Discipline is not an abstract concept. It's something you build through consistent action. Start today and let your actions lead you to greater strength and success. By committing to act without delay, you embrace the Stoic idea that we are defined by what we do, not by what we think or feel. Every action you take is a step toward becoming the person you aspire to be. And through discipline, you create the life you want, not by waiting, but by doing. As you begin to act without hesitation, you'll also start to see a shift in your confidence. Each small victory adds up, and what once felt difficult or unattainable will soon become part of your routine. The more you embrace action over inaction, the stronger your self-discipline will grow. The foundation you build through these small, consistent efforts will set you up for greater challenges ahead. Because when you choose to act now, you're not just taking action in the present, you're shaping your future success. Lesson 6. Remember death. Memento mori and amor fati. Have you ever asked yourself what truly matters in life? Have you paused long enough to consider that everything you hold dear, your time, your relationships, your dreams, will one day come to an end? It's a sobering thought, but one that the Stoics believed is essential for living a meaningful life. The practice of memento mori, remembering death, teaches us to confront the reality of our mortality, not in a way that induces fear, but in a way that empowers us to live fully and intentionally. When we truly grasp the fragility of life, we become more aware of the preciousness of each moment and are compelled to make the most of the time we have. I remember the first time I experienced the unexpected loss of someone close to me. It was sudden, and I was left in shock, grappling with the weight of the situation. As I reflected on the memories, I was reminded of how fragile life can be. It made me realize that I had been wasting so much time holding off on things I really wanted to do. I had been waiting for the perfect moment to start living the life I desired, but that moment never came until I was forced to face the fact that time, once lost, cannot be regained. It was the most painful lesson I've ever learned, but it pushed me to start living more consciously. I stopped procrastinating, and I began to make decisions with a sense of urgency and purpose, understanding that tomorrow isn't promised. This brings us to another powerful Stoic concept, amor fati, or the love of fate. Instead of resisting or lamenting the inevitable parts of life, like loss, setbacks, or failures. Amor Fati encourages us to accept them as necessary elements of our journey. It's easy to fall into the trap of wishing things were different or resenting the challenges we face. But the Stoics remind us that we don't have control over everything. What we do have control over is how we respond to life's twists and turns. By loving our fate, we embrace each moment, no matter how difficult, and use it as an opportunity for growth. Imagine this. You've faced a major setback. Perhaps a project at work failed, or a personal goal has been delayed. Your first instinct may be to feel frustrated or discouraged, wishing things had gone differently. But instead of wallowing in self-pity, consider how you can use this challenge to build resilience. Embracing Amor Fati means accepting the situation as it is and finding ways to move forward. This mindset doesn't mean giving up or resigning yourself to suffering. It means taking ownership of your response to life's difficulties and using them to become a stronger, more capable person. The combination of memento mori and Amor Fati creates a powerful mindset. When we remember that death is inevitable, we stop taking life for granted. We start to recognize how fleeting our time is and how important it is to make each day count. But more than that, we learn to embrace whatever comes our way, whether it's a triumph or a challenge. We stop resisting life and start embracing it fully, understanding that everything is part of the greater plan. This awareness of death, far from being a source of fear, becomes a source of freedom. We stop worrying about things beyond our control, and we focus on what we can change in the here and now. We begin to live with more intention, more purpose, and more clarity. Every moment becomes an opportunity to live in alignment with our values, to pursue what truly matters, and to cultivate a deeper appreciation for the time we have left. As you move forward, take a moment each day to reflect on memento mori. Consider the fleeting nature of life and ask yourself, am I living the way I truly want to? Am I spending my time on what truly matters, or am I wasting it on trivial concerns? Remember that every moment is a gift, and it's up to you to make the most of it. Let the awareness of death guide you toward a life of purpose, acceptance, and deep fulfillment. Lesson 7. Reflect and grow. Journaling, reading, gratitude. In every journey of training the mind, reflection is a crucial step toward growth. Without it, we are like a ship drifting in the sea without a compass, moving but not progressing with purpose. Reflecting on our thoughts, actions, and emotions allows us to learn from our experiences and continuously improve. Stoicism encourages this practice by promoting habits like journaling, reading, and expressing gratitude. These simple yet powerful actions help us pause and evaluate our journey, providing the clarity needed to refine our purpose and build mental strength. I remember when I first introduced journaling into my daily routine. Initially, it felt tedious, like one more thing on my never-ending to-do list. I struggled to find the time, and even when I did sit down to write, I found myself staring at the blank page. But as I pushed through, something remarkable began to happen. Journaling became an anchor in my day, allowing me to slow down and truly understand my emotions and actions. By reflecting on my day and writing, I started to notice patterns in my thoughts and behaviors. I could see what worked well, what didn't, and where I needed to focus more attention. It wasn't about writing perfectly, it was about gaining insights that could help me grow. Alongside journaling, Stoic philosophy encourages us to read widely, particularly the works of those who have come before us. By reading the words of wise thinkers, we can deepen our understanding of the world, sharpen our thinking, and align ourselves with timeless wisdom. The Stoics themselves were avid readers, using books as a tool for self-improvement. Reading allows us to explore different perspectives, challenge our assumptions, and learn from the experiences of others. It serves as a continual source of inspiration and guidance, reminding us that we are not alone on this journey. The more we read, the more we are able to refine our own thinking and take purposeful action toward personal growth. Gratitude, however, is perhaps the most transformative practice of all. In our busy, often chaotic lives, it's easy to focus on what's lacking or what's going wrong. But practicing gratitude shifts our focus to the good in our lives. Every day, we can take a moment to reflect on what we are thankful for, whether it's our health, our loved ones, or the simple pleasures of life. This practice doesn't mean ignoring the challenges we face. It means choosing to see beyond them and recognizing the beauty in the present moment. Gratitude opens our hearts and minds, enabling us to find joy in even the most difficult circumstances. Imagine this. Before going to bed tonight, you take 5 minutes to write down 3 things you are grateful for. They don't need to be monumental. They could be as simple as enjoying a cup of coffee in the morning or having a meaningful conversation with a friend. As you write, ask yourself, what did I learn today? What part of my mind or heart grew stronger? This act of reflection through journaling can help you recognize patterns, celebrate growth, and identify areas where you can improve. Incorporating these practices, journaling, reading, and gratitude, into your daily routine helps you stay grounded and focused. They allow you to learn from each day, whether good or bad, and turn those lessons into tools for growth. Through reflection, you begin to understand yourself better, and through gratitude, you learn to appreciate the journey. Reading enriches your mind and provides valuable insights that inspire action. Together, these practices form the foundation for continuous self-improvement, helping you to lead a life of purpose and intention. As you make reflection a habit, remember that growth is a process, not a destination. The small steps you take each day, whether through journaling, reading, or gratitude, add up to profound transformation. Keep showing up for yourself, and you will begin to see how each moment, each reflection, shapes the person you are becoming. The journey of self-discovery is not a linear path. It is a continuous cycle of reflection, learning, and growth. Each day presents new opportunities to learn more about ourselves, to understand our strengths and weaknesses, and to align our actions with our values. By embracing this journey, we open ourselves up to a deeper understanding of who we are and who we aspire to be. Journaling, reading, and gratitude are not just practices. They are gateways to self-awareness and personal development. They encourage us to look inward, to question our assumptions, and to seek wisdom from both within and without. As we engage in these practices, we begin to see ourselves not as static beings, but as works in progress, constantly evolving, constantly growing. The power of these practices lies in their consistency. It is not enough to journal, read, or practice gratitude sporadically. It is the daily commitment to these habits that leads to lasting change. By showing up for ourselves each day, we cultivate a mindset of growth and resilience. We learn to embrace challenges as opportunities, to view setbacks as stepping stones, and to find strength in stillness. In a world that often prioritizes external achievements over internal growth, these practices remind us of the importance of nurturing our inner selves. They teach us that true strength comes not from controlling the world around us, but from mastering our own minds. As we continue on this journey, we discover that the quiet within is not just a refuge from the chaos of life, but a source of profound wisdom and power. By committing to the practices of journaling, reading, and gratitude, we embark on a path to inner freedom. We learn to let go of the need for external validation, to find peace in the present moment, and to trust in the quiet within. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, the belief that true strength lies in the ability to remain calm and composed in the face of adversity, to embrace the journey of life with grace and resilience, and to find joy in the simple act of being. As you continue on your journey, remember that the practices you cultivate today will shape the person you become tomorrow. Embrace the quiet within, trust in the process, and let the journey of self-discovery unfold. In a world that often feels overwhelming and chaotic, the Stoic principle of disciplining your mind every morning offers a powerful pathway to inner peace and resilience. By taking just a few moments each day, through meditation, reflection, or setting intentions, you can build a mindset ready to face whatever challenges arise. This practice isn't about achieving constant calm or perfection. It's about creating a foundation of strength and clarity. Disciplining your mind each morning sets a positive tone for the day and builds lasting habits of mindfulness and self-awareness. Over time, this simple act transforms how you respond to life's inevitable ups and downs. Consistency is key. The small steps you take each morning compound into profound changes, helping you stay calm in adversity, make clearer decisions, and live with deeper purpose. Even just a few minutes of intentional focus can shift your entire perspective. So take a moment now. What practice resonates with you? How can you make it a consistent part of your mornings? Share your thoughts in the comments. We grow stronger by inspiring one another. Remember, the way you begin your day can change everything. Discipline your mind daily and watch your life transform with focus, resilience, and fulfillment.